Promoting community participation in governance, strengthening the work of IPID, dealing with stations that contribute to the high murder and attempted murder rate, and addressing issues of gender-based violence are some of the priorities tabled in the budget vote by the Police Ministry yesterday. Police Minister Bheki Cele also called on the National Police Commissioner to prioritize the wellness of police members across the board. Now, the Minister joins us now to discuss this further. Ndosi, siyabonga kakhulu isikhathi sakho namhlanje. Happy Africa Day to you. You told Parliament that during the July unrest, it was clear that community policing was at its weakest and there was little to no trust between the police and the communities. This was also, of course, confirmed in that unrest report that we saw. How are you then ensuring that you improve this?
Happy African Day to you and the listenership, Mangete. You look real African. Indeed.
Thank you.
Besides the breaking down of relationship between communities and the police that you experience as you go around there, which has gone from bad to worse for whatever reason. Going back to the July last year, it was very clear that the communities and the police could not work together. And as you have said, that understanding was enhanced by the finding of the report of the experts given to the president. President made a call on the SONA to say this will have to be one of the things working on the relationships between the police and the communities. If we say communities, we say everybody. We call families, we call churches, sports fraternities, and everybody. So we have put the emphasis this time, Bongewe, on that one, including the budget. But if us as human beings were not putting an extra effort on the matter, it really won't work. Resources could be there, intentions could be there, but all of us will have to put the shoulder on the wheel on this one.
Now, when we talk about community involvement, we saw, mass shootings in Khayelitsha, very disturbing. And these have been happening since 2020. Lots of concern from the community. How then are you, as the police, ensuring that you deal with this? Because these appear to be continuing unabated.
Yes, those shooting again. Responding to this question time and again, not here to bash my sister organization, the people that we're supposed to work with, supposed to sit down with. We have a JCPS cluster, which is a justice cluster, Bongiwe, starting with the police, and then with the prosecution. After prosecution, it would be magistracy going down to correctional service. It's disturbing and sometimes very painful for the police. Let's take the case of Mpumalanga, of that 6-year-old, as it's happening now, where she was mutilated and killed. That person is out on bail for 2 murders. Now, from the side of the police, you would have said, you have really done your job and you expect other segments to do their job. But for us, including myself, is not to come here and complain, is to see how we fix those things. We go back to Khayelitsha. In Khayelitsha, there have been recently 3 mass killings, including one called Nkanini, which is the same place in Khayelitsha. That person was arrested by the police. He has been given the bail of 800 rands for involving himself in the killing of 6 people. But unfortunately, that bail is the 5th bail of serious cases like attempted murder, armed robbery, and other stuff, which makes the police to find themselves to be on the back foot. But as I've said, it's not for us to cry, it's to see how to really fix those matters, so that those people that are arrested, the law must take its course, put them in the law belt. They are sent in there, stay long, and make the community safe, rather than having the repeat people coming out of the system either to murder or to rape the people again.
Let's talk about, these gruesome murders, because we are also seeing the GBV desks, which you've been talking about at different police stations. And these, of course, are meant to strengthen the work of the SAPS when it comes to these cases. As we speak, there's a case of Namhlamtwa, who, was gunned down, according to her family, 9 times. Yet we saw today a march saying the police are dragging their feet.
Well, we saw the march, and we congratulate the communities there and all organizations involved, civil organization, political organization, and all that. Indeed, they've raised the issue about the 2 police stations. Let me start from there, that the National Commissioner of the South African Police is going down there to make sure that he monitors and oversees the processes that you have put. There are processes that have been put there. The Deputy Provincial Commissioner, Udlada, has been given the task. There are some people sent from the national office to go and enhance the capabilities and capacity of the policing in that area, as we did with the Gadi issue in Mpumalanga. We are trying to repeat that. It's unfortunate it's taking longer, but you will have to understand that for the police it's not easy as the social media, as Ubongiwe or anybody who can just write and say, this so and so we suspect and this so and so is responsible. Police need to get that information, but convert that information to evidence so that when we act decisively and we act in the correct manner. It has taken some time. The issue of Namhla is giving us all a problem and pain, but I'm putting my head on the block. It's going to be resolved.
And when we talk about that, and I hear you saying you're putting your head on the block, but the family says that they were not being given regular updates. They were going to the police station on their own in order to try and get to the bottom of where police are with their investigation. So there is much, though, to be said about how the police then handled this, which also speaks then to the importance of those people in those GBV desks to really do their work when it comes to keeping families up to date.
Could I be allowed to stay away from that engagement of who did what, who does what, with an understanding that tomorrow, as the National Commission is going there, the ministers also going there, we will be engaging the family. I think it would be more civil and it would be more close, more meaningful if we talk to the family rather than beginning to point fingers, what has happened, what has not, because we have some few things ourselves to raise with the family.
And fair enough, I hear you on that, and we'll hear what then you say after meeting with the family. Let's talk about the issue of the backlog. I mean, there was really something that you said, which I could tell this was really a big deal for you, and you put your neck on the block. You said you want this backlog of DNA tests to be cleared within 6 months. I see from the figures you painted to Parliament is that it's going down, but is it going down enough for you to say you'll meet the deadline? Indeed,
we are still hopeful and working hard that we must meet the deadline. Look, the DNA and laboratories are the key element in solving the cases. If we can't solve that, it's going to take us a long time, and giving the pain to the victims, especially of murder, and the victims of the gender-based violence. We had to do some few things. For some reason, I wouldn't understand why. Somebody who's running the contracts of that environment allowed 16 contracts to collapse, which caused machines not to be looked after, machines not to be fixed, to make sure that things that are supposed to be used are not bought in that area. There were no chemicals. All that has been fixed. But more than that, we had to double the time. For instance, people will come at 8 and finish at 4. We're doubling the time now. We're doing two shifts of 16 hours instead of 8 hours. We have pulled back the staff that used to work there. Even our interns have been brought back. 24 of them, they are there. We have put enough money for the overtime so that we work around the clock. We believe that with those involvement and that interventions, life will continue. We still want to finish it, this backlog in September.
All right, and very briefly then, as we round up our discussion, I mean, I remember seeing that, some 140 odd police officers were involved in cases of domestic violence. Is that still a headache for the SAPS?
147 of them, and about 89 of them, they are victims themselves of the gender-based violence. We have a very huge family, 184,000 people, and they are just reflection of the South African society. Although they should have the better understanding, they should be protecting and upholding the law. That's why the punishment for them must be up there, but it's across the board that will have to deal with everybody, as I've said. That you still have the same thing, that teachers will be complaining or parents will be complaining about the teachers abusing kids at school. You'll see at the churches that there is something of that sort, but from the side of the police are expected to protect. Yes, this 147 is a big number. The commissioner, the call has been made to him to say, we don't have to be soft on those police, as the secretariat did raise the issue that sometimes they feel that the police management is soft in dealing with those matters. I think we'll have to be hard internally with our own, so that when we deal with the rest there, everybody must realize this gender-based violence thing must come to an end, and there must be serious consequences for everybody.
All right, Ndosi, thank you so much for your time. Let our team then in the Eastern Cape catch up with you tomorrow as you go to visit Namhla's family. That was Police Minister Bheki Cele. Time now for a quick ad break. When we come back, we're still reflecting on Africa Day.